I think most people know the story of how ECWA was founded, but what you might not know is the story of the last 3 years, the new regime here in ECWA, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Like I said, I think most people are aware of how ECWA was founded, but just in case you're not familiar with ECWA, it was founded in 1967 by James Kettner, and it started out as a backyard wrestling company, the exact same way that 99% of the wrestling population starts out as. In August of 2010, it was announced that ECWA was being sold, and Jim Kettner had sold it to Mike Tartaglia. Tartaglia, alongside Joezanoli and John Finnegan, would run ECWA all the way up until 2019. My own relationship with ECWA was unique. I'm no different than most fans out there. I kind of learned how to read from wrestling magazines, and I grew up reading names like Mr. Ooh La La, Ace Darling, Cheetah Master, and seeing the names of ECWA and all the different independents that were hot at the time in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazines. In high school, when I finally got internet, one of the first websites I ever visited was Reggie Park's website, and I fell in love with the ECWA Championship. Now, I had been running World 1 Wrestling since 2007, and if you're not familiar with World 1, here's a quick recap. What is World 1 Wrestling? Where'd that name come from? Who wrestles there? Is that the guys who do the pretzel show? Well, yeah, but that's not how we started. In fact, in order to understand how we got here, we need to go back and tell you how it all started. World 1 started as Pro Wrestling World 1. It was the American version of Pro Wrestling 01, a Japanese-based promotion. It was spearheaded by Steve Corino, who thought up and dreamed of the concept shortly after his former promotion, PWF, had ended. In truth, PWF was the real precursor to Ring of Honor, and many of the names you saw in the first several Ring of Honor shows held came directly from PWF, including some of the exact same matches. It all started for Pro Wrestling World 1 in Pottstown, PA. You might be asking yourself, why Pottstown? I don't f***ing know. At the debut show, Corino was asked about the World 1 concept, to which he said, "The Japanese tradition of pro wrestling is to keep it pure and simple. Don't insult the intelligence of the fans, don't do anything that will send people home thinking that was crap," said Corino. World 1 would soon crown its first champion, Masato Tanaka, who would go on to defend the belt against Steve Corino, Jerry Lynn, CM Punk, and many others. Well, where is Steve Corino now, and why is this jerk-off telling me about World 1? Well, f*** you, you're a jerk-off. And Steve Corino went off to parts unknown. We partnered in 2007 while I was running events, and we brought back the name World 1 Wrestling back in 2009. Seeing how this is the 15-year anniversary, we're going to refer to ourselves as Pro Wrestling World 1 for the remainder of the year as a tribute to Steve Corino, the founder of Pro Wrestling World 1. How do we become the Pretzel Mania guys or the Pizza Palooza guys? Well, we'll get to that. Not today, because I have stuff to do. Plus, I'm getting a call. Over the years, because of my relationship with John Finnegan and using him on my own shows, I would help out with ECWA and do music or videography or whatever they needed when they needed a hand. So in 2019, when Tartaglia was looking to sell, he reached out to me. Now, when I got the call from Tartaglia about taking over ECWA, I knew I was about to embark on something unique. So I picked up a camera and I started documenting the next couple days and everything that this acquisition might entail. It is Wednesday, December 4th, and I have purchased the ECWA from Mike Tartaglia. Weird. I got a text from Mike asking if I wanted to purchase the ECWA. So we worked everything out. We're going to sign the paperwork, make it official, I guess, on Friday, but met up with Chris Rockwell, who's been like my go-to guy for World 1, told him the news, because he has had a falling out with the ECWA guys a couple years ago, and he couldn't believe it. It's a weird thing. So now I'm actually going to be on the phone with John Finnegan, who's somebody I respect quite a ton. He's been on most of my shows, pretty much every one I've ever done. He just found out today that I purchased ECWA, so he's going to call me, and I guess we'll see how that goes. So my theory was, look, we can give half the guys a booking, or we can give none of the guys a booking, because he's going to cancel the show, or I can do it with half of their guys, and I can bring a couple of my guys in.
So a lot of the people you unbooked Saturday was in the middle of the tournament.
Nice.
One good thing about Mike, he always paid and never stiffed anybody. Like yourself, you never stiff anybody and everybody gets paid.
Yeah.
But his demeanor and his attitude is what killed him. Ryan, I'm more wrapped up in this. I was more hurt when he went on hiatus more than I was when ECW shut down.
Really?
Yes.
So
Joe and I have been so wrapped up and involved in this. I've never been wrapped up in ECW like I've been in this.
After that, my next call was to Joezanoli, who had been the matchmaker for ECWA and was a longtime photographer during the Kettner years. And I wanted Joe on board for whatever we were going to do in the future. The reason I wanted to talk to you was to kind of figure out, A, if you still wanted to continue, doing stuff with ECWA, and then if so, to discuss what that could be. Obviously, you guys have your team, and then I have my team, but I was hoping that you would be, we do have some overlap already, so I was kind of hoping you would be a part of my team going forward, but right. I don't know where your head is at. And
no, I realize, I told John, I said, whenever somebody buys something, they're gonna, I've been a fan forever. When somebody comes in, when we took over for Kettner, we actually used his whole roster. I realize you're going to do, want to do, it's your thing. You're going to want to do what you want to do. Right. I had my shot at it. So, if you want to, I guess depending on what you had in mind, just helping out and figuring it along the way in the beginning or something specific.
Like I said, I knew of ECWA ever since I was a kid. From seeing them in the magazines, falling in love with their championship, and of course, like everybody, the Super 8. In World 1, we were such fans of the Super 8, we created our own tournament to honor Shinya Hashimoto, who was a big influence in Steve Carino's career. As I mentioned earlier, Steve Carino was a big part of Pro Wrestling World 1. So like every other independent wrestling company since the dawn of time, we emulated the Super 8. The first event was held on July 11th, 2008, outside of Gold's Gym in Royersford, Pennsylvania, 3 years to the date of Hashimoto's passing. The 8-man tournament would see Ricky Reyes defeating Josh Daniels, Ricky Landell beating Guillotine LeGrand via technical knockout, Jerry Lynn defeating Jake Manning. Steve Carino and King Kaluuya would go to a time limit draw. As a result, the main event would become a three-way dance, which saw Ricky Reyes defeat Ricky Landell and Jerry Lynn to become the first ever Hashimoto Legacy Cup winner. On August 28, 2009, the tournament would take place in Morganville, New Jersey, and would feature representatives from various wrestling companies. The tournament would see Alex Anthony defeating Havoc, Sean Hayes and Erico going to a draw, Ryan Sawyer defeated Craven, Steve Carino beat Damien Dragon. As a result of the draw, both Erico and Hayes would advance but ultimately lose to Alex Anthony. Ryan Sawyer would defeat his trainer, Steve Carino. In the finals, Ryan Sawyer was able to overcome Alex Anthony to win the tournament. In 2010, the tournament would change to a block-style tournament, which would feature points and take place over several months. Day 1 of the tournament took place on September 12th, 2010. The original Monster C defeated Adam Cole to earn 2 points. Bobby Dempsey defeated Kid America to earn 2 points. Damien Dragon earned 2 points when he defeated Sam Shields, and Ryan Sawyer earned 2 points when he defeated Super Sweet, now known as Travis Lee. Day 2 of the tournament took place on October 24th, 2010. Damien Dragon would move up to 4 points when he defeated Super Sweet. Ryan Sawyer would earn 4 points when he defeated Sam Shields. Adam Cole went up to 2 points when he defeated Kid America. Bobby Dempsey and the original Monster C wrestled to a double countout. Day 3 of the tournament took place on December 5th, 2010. Kid America earned 2 points by defeating the original Monster C. Sam Shields earned 2 points by defeating Super Sweet. Ryan Sawyer defeated Damien Dragon. Adam Cole moved up to 4 points by defeating Bobby Dempsey. The finals would see Adam Cole defeating Ryan Sawyer to win the 2010 Hashimoto Legacy Cup. If for nothing else than to be a figurehead, a matchmaker, a Jack Tunney. The sale took place, and literally 2 days later was our next show. So I had to get together about half of my crew, keep half of the ECWA crew, kind of blend them together and put together a show pretty much out of thin air with zero promotion and zero hype behind it. We did that show. It was as good as it could be under the circumstances, but I knew this was going to be a couple-year process of getting our guys acclimated to ECWA and vice versa. And then COVID happened. Obviously, it was a terrible time for pro wrestling. It was a terrible time for the world, but it gave me time to actually start digitizing a lot of the old footage, stuff that had never been seen online, and a lot of stuff that hadn't even been seen since it was filmed 10 to 15 to 20 years ago. So now we sit here in a new era for ECWA. For fans, from fans. Like Jim Kettner, my friends and I started out as backyard wrestlers ourselves, and we were able to achieve our dreams and become a professional wrestling company. In 2007, when I started promoting shows, I was the young kid promoter. And now as I look around, I'm accidentally one of the longest tenured bookers that are out there today. ECWA has always been thought of as the Super 8 company, and that's a great legacy to have. But to the fans who come to the shows, they know we're so much more than that. I truly believe there isn't a company out there today that's telling the stories that our wrestlers are telling. So if you've never been to an ECWA show, now's your chance. Now's the time. Each show is better than the last one. I can guarantee you if you come to one show, you'll be at the next one, and the one after that. So I hope to see you soon, because we'll see you at the matches.
Spear! Spear! Hooks the leg! 2, 3! We have a champion! Wait! Stunner! I got one more! Here it is! Let's go for it! 1, 2, 3! We did it!